the 41st pick. The 41st pick in the 2015 NBA draft is now the back-to-back MVP of the entire NBA. I don't think people realize just how unlikely that is. To give y'all context, only about 26% of second-round picks actually are able to don an NBA roster. And then within 2 to 3 years of that, that number is probably cut down to less than half. So for somebody that was picked in the second round, almost mid-second round, to now be the back-to-back MVP of the entire NBA shows not only Denver's elite scouting, but the actual work ethic and commitment to the game that Nikola Jokic has. But even with that amount of dedication and love for the game that Nikola Jokic has shown throughout his entire career since touching down in the NBA media seems to have some sort of vendetta about him. For some reason, they can't just admit just how good this man is and just how deserving he is of the awards he's gotten throughout his career. So today, we're going to talk about just how much the NBA media is trying to ruin Nikola Jokic. This right here is Nick Wright, ESPN spokesperson, certified LeBron beat writer, and hater of advanced stats. Now, those things you can look past, because at this point, I think a lot of people look at ESPN and the shows that come on as a source of entertainment and not real any sports knowledge if you're actually clued in on the game and you're not a casual fan. But for Nick Wright, hating on Nikola Jokic, or just a simple dislike of Nikola Jokic, has been the core of him for the past 2 seasons. So much that he's been so dedicated to say he's been on the level of Skip Bayless when it comes to LeBron levels of hate. From saying that you don't report on the league MVP in Nikola Jokic because the Denver Nuggets are not what people want to hear about, like that's not your job to inform people of what's going on in the NBA.
Someone said, y'all doing this for ratings. Let me tell you a little secret about television. Talking about Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets is not good for ratings, folks. That's not how you bring in the most vast audience, is by talking about the Joker and the Nuggets. Who on that
Or to simply make tweets like this that suggest that Nikola Jokic's MVP is stolen from somebody else like he didn't truly deserve it for the absolute amazing levels of play and historic levels of play he put on either season is absolutely insane, the levels this man's willing to go to discredit Nikola Jokic. And his main argument for his dislike of Nikola Jokic stems from his dislike for the advanced stats, from PER to value of a replacement player to the hate of blocks plus minus, which, sure enough, Nikola Jokic tops all of those stats. Even PER, it's an historic level. He hates all of them, but he acts like if you just don't go to Nikola Jokic's regular stats, the traditional ones, he doesn't blow majority of the league out of the way. 27.1 points, 13.8 rebounds, 7.9 assists, 1.5 steals, a block per game on 58% shooting and 34% from 3, 81% from the line, carrying this Denver offense throughout the entire season. And for somebody whose conditioning has been under the scrutiny of the media for a long time, he's been an Iron Man through his career, playing at least 70 games in every single season he's played so far throughout his entire NBA career. But again, Nick Wright likes to point to the advanced stats and act like that discredits somebody because they don't have the regular season stats to back it up. And that you could use for somebody like Chris Paul, who only averaged 14 and 10 in the entire regular season. But for somebody like Nikola Jokic, who's put up 27, nearly a triple-double per game as a center, it's absolutely insane to insinuate that he just doesn't have the stats to back up the actual award. Not to mention using the fact that the Denver Nuggets were a 6th seed and that Nikola Jokic doesn't win enough to get the award, ignoring the fact that the Denver Nuggets are without 2 of their top 3 options as a scorer and as a player on this team, due to the fact that Nikola Jokic has been carrying them and the fact that their offense take a historic drop to some record-level lows when he's not on the court, to completely ignore the fact that you have been pushing for LeBron to win the MVP even when he doesn't have that type of record in the regular season is some absolutely insane levels of hate. But Nick Wright isn't the only one that is a culprit of this levels of hate, because everyone else is. Almost everyone, even some former players, which is really sad. Like this.
It's beyond stupid that we frame this as a 2-man race. Like, Nikola Jokic is averaging 26.5 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists.
This is the problem that I have with people that have votes in the MVP conversation, because We always moving the goalposts, and I don't understand.
Did you hear the numbers?
I heard the numbers, but they are sitting like in the 8th or 9th slot.
Because
now I want you guys to realize that the MVP award has always had the pretty much same criteria for a while. Now, while the player who wins it is kind of narrative based sometimes, and I understand that, but the people who win it are normally A, top 3 seed in their conference, B, has all NBA level stats, and C is considered one of the best players in the NBA. That's normally what you need to at least qualify. That goalpost is completely moved by the media and people like you in 2017 when you gave Russ that MVP. And I'm not gonna hate on Westbrook. I would have given him the MVP that season. Having a triple-double, something that people say was impossible in today's NBA, is something extremely commendable. But when you look at Nikola Jokic stats this season and where he ranks all time in certain stats, I would argue some of this is even more historic than anything Russ did in that MVP season. The all-time leader in PER and blocks plus minus this season, leading the league in almost every single advanced stat possible, being one of the leaders in assists, being the league leader in triple doubles, etc., etc. Again, I would argue this is more impressive than Russ's MVP season. Like, if you want to talk about a carry job, this is one of the greatest carry jobs of all time. It got so bad it got to the point where people were waiting for Nikola Jokic to get swept in the first round so he can be the first ever MVP to get swept out of the first round, and that didn't happen. And I saw some people sad about it. Like, it was getting to that levels of hate. Also, you had Steph winning MVP last season out as he was the 8th seed.
I'm going with Steph Curry. You are. Right, just think about it. A 2-time MVP, and right now we're talking about he's having the best season of his career. If you take Steph Curry off this team, this Warriors team will be in the lottery.
Like, you're king of moving the goalpost. I don't know what we're doing here anymore, but I digress. All in all, it's getting to an extremely weird xenophobic level of hate of why hating Nikola Jokic because you think he doesn't deserve the awards he gets. It was the same level of hate they had for Giannis before Giannis had to shut him up and win a championship. And even then, they still talk about KD's foot on the line and not give him his true respect in the entire. Stephen A. Smith still has KD over Giannis, which is something wild to me. But it gets to that weird xenophobic level of hate. But I digress. As of right now, Nikola Jokic is the 2-time MVP. You can't change that in the NBA. He deserves both awards he got. And once Jamal Murray comes back, if he come back to even just 74% of what he was before, if Michael Porter comes back and he at least is the same level he was before and he can last at least 70% of the season, the Denver Nuggets will be a 50-plus win team, 55-plus win team next season. And you'll probably see Nikola Jokic's name in the MVP conversation again. Probably won't win because of water fatigue. But you'll be hard-pressed to know that Nikola Jokic is probably going to be one of the bigs that kicks out one of your favorites. Because right now, I'm looking at the all-time centers list, and Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic are getting set to kick 2 of those motherfuckers out. Because it's getting to an insane level right now. But as of right now, with that being said, that's all I have to say on the situation. It really is just puzzling to me the levels of hate these people are willing to go to for these players. With that being said, this is FLB, that's my time, and I'm out.